Greetings all, it's Paul Tizzard here from Lovefly. Just wanted to say welcome to the weekly Fear of Flying Q&A. So for those who haven't met me before quite properly, this is me. So you've come through the podcast, you've hope you're not disappointed. This is me. I am one of the Lovefly humans that is here to look after you. And we have been running this group now for a good few years. And believe it or not, you have joined a global community of 6,500 humans, which is just remarkable. It wasn't that long ago that it started. And there are plenty of people in this group who have stayed the course. And obviously, a few people have left along the way. Apologies for that. But mostly people stick around. It's a great community and you're very, very welcome. So thank you for joining. As we say, we always have about 100 odd people a week join us. I think last week was like a monster week, so it grew tons and tons. So I'm just going to say hello to a few people. I can see you watching. Hi, Andy. Hi, Chris. So, Peter, I know you'll be watching. Peter Higgins, John Bond, he'll be watching somewhere glamorous in Canada. Hi, Ellie. Nice to see you as well. So only got the one question in so far, so a bit of a light week, but that's all right. Lots of stuff to talk about. So thanks, Andy. Hi. One of the things that we want to tell you about, where should I start? Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on, as you can imagine. We've always got lots of ideas. Ideas, not a problem. Execution, well, things never happen as quick as you want them to, do they, John? Yes, John. Whipping us, get in order. Yeah, it's just failing. So we have a few things that are coming out at the moment, and there's a few things that are kind of being tested right now. So I'll just tell you about a few of those because you might be able to give us some feedback around that. So first of all, there is an iPhone app which is called Lovefly, and on it is it's free, by the way. So it's on there is the amazing Pete Higgins checklist, which he's kindly, generously donated. And that's on there. There's also the audiobook and stuff. There's a couple of weird things going on with my version because there are going to be some products on there. But everything at the moment should be free, but it's doing some weird stuff earlier. So if you have a look and you notice anything strange, please messenger in this group. I'd love, just tag me because I'd love to get the feedback because we're just trying to get it right. We're not trying to compete with all the, Simplify and Flight Radar and all them lot because at the end of the day, they're just massively, high tech bits of kit. We want it to be nice and simple just to support people. Hi, Chris. And so we are hoping that we've got the sort of the balance right between just something easy to use, but also that something would be quite helpful as well. So have a look. Tell us what you think. Hi, Carrie. It's nice seeing people coming on. So I didn't think we'd have many today because it's Labor Day, isn't it? So in the US. So I didn't know how many people would actually rock up or whether you just be out at your holiday cottages somewhere. I don't know. Maybe you have one of those. I don't know. But I thought you'd all be off, like giving it large, as we'd say. So we have, so the iPhone app. iPhone only at the moment. I haven't tried the Android version of it. And we are going to change it. Because when we set it up probably about 2 years ago, it was just to make sure the name didn't get nicked, but it's a really basic app, unfortunately. And it's pretty, yeah. Anyway, have a look, see what you think, and feedback most welcome. Other things going on. So Sarah Lee, who you may have met her in the group, she came on our first face-to-face Manchester course, and works with children, like I can't remember what age group it is now, but she has recorded a load of questions from these kids, and it's just brilliant, So, and hi, Sarah. These kids have asked questions of Captain Steve, and also of Rosie, which you may have. Rosie, who's been in one of our podcasts, she's a friend of Sarah Fowler, who's a hugely awesome human that exists in this group as well. And I expect she exists other places too. I don't know. I've got no proof. So Rosie and Steve are going to answer these questions. So Rosie's already answered half of them. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be one of the cutest podcasts ever. And it should be out soon. But Sarah's been working on some resources. I've been mentioning this for a while, but we're just trying to get it to format just right. So we could upload it now as PDFs, but she's done it as a lovely little booklet that you can use. And there's a whole bunch of like checklists and all sorts of stuff that you can do with kids to keep them entertained and hopefully not develop a fear of flying. But that's it. I keep saying it'll be out soon. It will be out soon, and I promise as soon as it's out, it'll be in the files. The other thing is Chris Grubb, who's actually watching. He's done an action plan, and I'm not quite sure what stage that's at, but this is a brilliant thing. So when Chris came to our first Manchester course, he was like, super grateful, brilliant, contributor. But then he came back as a volunteer on the second one, and brought his little action plan along, and all this kit and all this stuff that he'd done to prepare himself to show in true military style how prepared and professional he was. He was a professional fighting his fear of flying person. If it was a job, he would have been, it was a job. He was prepared like it was a job. Hello, Ray. And so I just thought that was really interesting. Did I say hello, Sarah, as well? I don't know if I did, but anyway. And he's created this little action list, which is an action plan. So we call it the Chris Grubb action plan, and that will also be in the files section of this Facebook group as well. So it's going to be he's kindly donated that to help you lot, and we just thought it looked great. And so anything like that, we love to sort of endorse. And all of these things like Pete Higgins, Chris Grubb, they're all free. And Sarah Lee's children's stuff, free, So the podcast will be, the resources will be free. There are other things which are going to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not. I'm going to say it. So Geeta has done some amazing work as well. And so Geeta Brown, who is been in this group probably since DOT and was a nervous flyer. And now she's trained as a pilot, as you do. And she is also a proper yoga guru. I don't know what the official term is, but she's all of those things and so much more. And she's prepared some materials which will actually be a product that we're going to bring out, and that will be coming out. I don't think it'll be too long about now, because she's done so much work on it, and what we've seen of it looks fantastic and puts the rest of our stuff to shame. That's what I'm going to say. That's not what I'm going to say, but that's all I'm going to say for now. Hello, Joanne. So Geeta's stuff will be coming out as well. We'll let you know, and that'll be, on our normal web, lovefly.co.uk website. So you'll be able to have a look at that, purchase it if you want to. It's going to be an amazing, amazing thing. So there's that. Other things that we're testing at the moment, we have a membership site, which is pretty much working, but we're looking to launch that in the next few weeks. We're just going to let 20 people in to begin with, and then we're going to keep it a really small community. And this has come because two reasons. One, people have been asking for it. They've wanted that extra sort of like weekly personal help with me and other people of the team that you don't perhaps see, like Susan, who's our clinical director, and then Sarah and Steve. Hopefully they'll be around as well, and we'll have guest speakers and all sorts of stuff. So that will be coming out soon. And that's just going to be phenomenal. But the other reason is it's something that I've wanted to do for years, probably about 12, 15 years. It's been, one of those things you just think, I've got to try it. So we don't know if it's going to be a success or it's going to absolutely tank. But we do know that hopefully, based on the fact that people have asked for it, that there will be some interest. So we'll let you know when that's coming out. But it's still being tested at the moment, just to make sure that it all kind of works and everything. So we've got a few super users that have had a look at it and given us a bit of a thumbs up so far, and some suggestions which we're incorporating. That's that. What else? Let me talk about some stuff that's coming up that I can remember anyway. So this week's podcast is going to be Sharon B. And Sharon, she came to us, I suppose, about a year ago. She was looking for some help, fear of flying help, and she had motion sickness. She had trouble flying over water. She really couldn't think about those sort of long haul flights. She had been limiting herself in terms of flying had fear for like 30 years. And then I don't think she'd flown for like 12 years. And she listened to one episode of the podcast because she was searching for Fear of Flying Help on Spotify, and then found us lot, and then just started to devour them. She's done the 30-day program. She bought our webinar as well. But that it's not just a sales thing. Her story's great. She name checks loads of really great podcast episodes, and some ones which don't come up all the time as well, like the guy I see, who's my supervisor coach, Dr. Paul Barber. He came in and did a podcast on episode 82, and she name checks that, and she mentions Jeff Rolls, who was one of the really early podcast episodes, who's an NLP guru, neuro-linguistic programming. He works with Paul McKenna and people like that. And she quoted him, and it was just like, wow. So that's out on Wednesday at 7 o'clock UK time, in all the normal podcast places. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. Oh my God, what else was there? I'm hoping John Bond's on, he'll remind me. I write things down and then I lose the list. Not particularly organised, really, is it? Not organised. See, Andy Blackwell, you see, he's a man that's super organised. So Andy Blackwell, if you haven't listened to his podcast episode, he's a security specialist, and that's being very reductionist in all of his knowledge and stuff. But if you're worried about things like security and all that, and internationally, you've got to listen to his. So listen to his podcast, Andy Blackwell. But he's a man that would be organised. He wouldn't be like me. What else we got? Why don't I answer a question and pipe down a bit? Yeah. So Elle says, Elle Lacey, hello. Heading to the US next week and have been fearful about flying over the sea. How is safety mitigated with long transatlantic crossings? I can answer that one. So I'm just going to say a quick hello. So hello, Joanne. Hello, Courtney. And hello, Leah. Hello. I don't know why I did that. So the thing about, we often get something in our head that perhaps there's some sort of extra special thing, but every flight is planned. So it doesn't matter whether it's a short flight, a long flight, it's planned. And so the flight planners plan it, the slot is allocated, the routing is decided, the weather is looked at, no matter where it is, whether it's an hour or whether it's 10 hours. The only thing that's different as you get longer flights is that you'll probably be on a bigger aircraft. That means more crew. Probably if you get over 9 or 10 hours, then you're looking at more pilots and rotating. So everything, so whether you're looking at like a little business jet, which carries 12 people, or whether you're looking at some big whacking monster sausage like the A380, which can carry in economy, I read the other day, in the economy configuration, it can carry up to 800 humans. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? That's a monster. But regardless of what size it is, you're just scaling up the same principles, so the more it has to lift, the bigger it has to be, the bigger the wing, the stronger the engines, everything's just scaled up. So all the principles are the same. But so if you're going on an A380, for example, and you're going across transatlantic, you can literally just point and shoot because you've got so much extra redundancy. If you're flying, what I mean by that is so if you have an engine failure, for example, which is, what some people worry about, you've still got tons and tons of capacity in there. Now, because engines have got so safe, most airlines have gone down the route of going for twins, so they don't make the A380 anymore. As far as I'm aware, I think it came out of production in 21, 22, because people have gone, well, yeah, it's great and it's efficient and it's fantastic, but actually the twin engine aircraft are so powerful now, and the engines are so reliable that we don't need 4 engines, so it's much better for the environment and all the rest of it. So it's all good stuff. So hello, Caroline. So if you're going across the transatlantic, often in our mind we think, we're just going to cross this big sea. And if you're looking at your little flight map, which I don't recommend you do, I know some of you are nervous, are on standby in case the pilot needs you, watching the flight map. Got to keep watching. I'll give you permission not to watch because nothing will change. But yes, if you are doing that, then you probably looking at the picture and going, oh my goodness, there's all this nothingness underneath, and underneath the nothingness is the sea, and oh my God, and so your brain goes off on one. But you're always hugging a coastline, and the pilots at any point. So when I was cabin crew years ago, like 20 odd years ago, when we used to be able to go into the flight deck, 25, 26 years ago, oh my God, scary. You used to be able to go into the flight deck and you could say to the pilots then, right, where's the nearest 3 suitable landing places? You've got to keep it simple, you see, for pilots. Where's the 3 nearest landing, just joke, not a good one, 3 nearest suitable landing places now? And they can tell you, because that's what they do. They're playing the what if game. They're always going, what if this happens? What if that happens? A bit like you do, but the difference is they actually have the answers. They're always thinking. So that's their job, is to keep thinking about like contingency planning. So they already know before they set off exactly where the suitable places are. And there's lots of places that you can land. And if you had a medical emergency, for example, they know all the suitable hospitals, the routes that have hospital places, because there's lots of places you could land, but you don't want to land somewhere that doesn't have the right hospital facility. So all of these things are taken into consideration. I don't want to put an extra fear in your head, but these are just things that everything like this is all thought about. So because of the twin engine thing, there's a whole bunch of procedures. I won't bore you with it, but it basically means you have to be within 3 hours of an airstrip that is suitable for you to land with one engine. So even if you had an engine failure, you still got to be able to get to. So they're always doing that. So, but it's not that far. They're always passing. There's so many airstrips out there, and the pilots know exactly where all these things are. So I don't know if that helps or not, but I only had the one question, so I thought I'd spend a bit longer on it. But this is all the sort of stuff that we cover in our face-to-face courses, which brings me to our next face-to-face course is going to be in Manchester on the 16th of November, and we still have some places left. I'd love that to fill again like the last one did, because it's just so great to meet people who we get to meet through this group, but also we get to bring things to life a bit better, and particularly in the aircraft environment that we use at Sky People. We're also still hoping to do the November course in Gatwick, which is tentatively the 9th of November, but we're just not really sure where the venue's going to be. It's going to be Gatwick area, because we just don't want to not run one. So we've got, I think, about 30 odd people on the wait list now. So should be a good one. Hi, Liz. So that's all the questions that I can see. I'm just going to have a quick look in the group. Can't see anything there. So yes, just to recap, what was I going to say about this? Keep doing what you're doing, because the community, this global community that you're part of, that is growing and growing. We want to get it to 100,000. I see some of these groups, like really random groups, like Friends of Tenerife or what. I've just made that up, but you just see these groups like a massive, and you think, well, if there can be 100,000 people that are friends with Tenerife, then why can't there be 100,000 people in this group? So we want to just keep growing and growing so that we can offer more and more help for people. But the thing behind that is that actually it's you lot that are helping each other. There's such a great community vibe here. It never ceases to amaze us, and it's so humbling to see that by the time that someone's posted something, they might say, "Oh, track me," or "I'm a bit nervous." There's always about 10, 15 people that have jumped on and said something, Obviously, there's certain times of the day are quieter than others, but generally, I've never seen a post go unanswered. And I just think that's the power of this group, that everyone's sort of like pitching in for each other, and you're all at different stages. The only thing I'd ask of you, right, is please don't join this group and be passive. So I don't mind lurkers. We've got loads of those, but do something different, because when people post and say, "Oh, I'm really, really scared," and blah, 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 that's fine. That's where you are right now. But that doesn't have to be where you stay. Do you know what I mean? Because, as you know, we always say this, and we absolutely know this, having seen like 30-odd thousand people help themselves get over their fear of flying. You weren't born with this. It's a pattern of behaviour you've got into, and you are a normal person. So we treat you like that. We try to be normal with you and treat you as a normal bunch of people that just got into some bad habits and then they repeat them. So you've got to do some different stuff to get some different results, because if you keep doing the same stuff, you'll get the same results. And I know that sounds really, really, really Captain Obvious, but it is, because that is the way. That there's no sort of like secret. And I know I spent with a lot of people here in this Lovefly team when we ran the Flying Without Fear program for Virgin. We did do the the 1-day course with the flight at the end. But I have to say, there's nothing that you will get from those courses you can't get from this group. And there's so much more in this group, and the podcasts, and if you think about the whole thing that we're offering. So we're not doing flights at the moment, but I promise you, if you keep chipping away at your fear, you're going to find that it starts to disappear. And I mean long term, not just like feel good for a day and then it kind of creeps back in again. You just got to keep chipping away at it. And so you've got all the resources and help here that you could ever need. And I cannot encourage you enough to take advantage of it. And, yes, lots of people get help from the podcast and this Facebook group, but there's lots of other ways that you can get help as well. So if you want to come and do the 30-day program, we've always got between 10 and 15 people going through that. And I can see them ticking away, which is great. Like you get a little 10-minute video every day for 30 days. And that's very much in line with our philosophy. You've got the instant webinar. If you want a quick, I need a quick burst of information and help, that's available. So all these things are there. You can do a one-to-one with me, or you can do one-to-ones with Susan, she's an EMDR and CBT and God knows what else specialist. And, also there's simulator courses available with Captain Steve. Obviously they're a bit more pricey because simulators, the ones that we use, are proper pilot spec ones. So they're not cheap as chips. They're not like the ones you might get in a fairground. You know what I mean? Hello, Joanne. So, these are just sort of a few of the things. But like I say, if you can make it to come and join us on a face-to-face course, we'd love that, because I know that a lot of people, probably half of our community, are not in the UK. But don't worry, we haven't forgotten you. We have got plans. We are trying to do something. So I've got one ask of you, and I'm going to put this in the group separately. So Susan and I are going to the IATA Safety Conference in October. And we are going to be talking about lots of things, but particularly I'm going to be focusing on what nervous flyers want from cabin crew and the pilots and stuff like that. And in particular, our talk is around, I'm part of a panel, and we're looking at things like the safety briefings, is this, what's the sort of tone that it should be? Should they be light-hearted? Should they be, serious? Why do some people pay more attention to them when others don't? What's going on there? Have people just become a bit numb to it or not interested? So we're thinking about that. So I'm going to pose a few questions, but if you've got any thoughts about that, in terms of, do you like the humorous cabin crew and the pilots who are, really funny on the PA, or does that actually make you worse? So I'd love to know your answer to that. And I will pose that as a little poll in this Facebook group as well. But if it does spark anything, just please message us. I'd love to know that. And that would be super, super helpful. So when we go to this conference, there's going to be I think there's about 200 member airlines that are going to be represented. And Johnny Jasper, who is also in this group, who I've known a long time, is amazing and often contributes in here. But he's kindly invited us along again. And hi, Annalie. And he is desperate to get some sort of quality input that we can use to inform all these safety training professionals that work for all these other airlines. And there'll be regulatory bodies there and all sorts of people. So all of that sort of stuff. Right, okay, thanks, Joanne. That's helpful. That's the sort of thing. So Joanne says, I like it if they look smiley and confident. Sometimes they look so serious, it's almost like they're concerned. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. So that's the sort of stuff which is really valuable, so thank you for that. So like I say, Sharon B's podcast out on Wednesday. Super, super useful. Lots of really great tips in there to help you. Lots of nice ideas, podcasts she's listened to, things she's done. We worked out that she'd managed to get over her fear to the point where she was able to fly confidently. We think it was like start to finish about 4 months, which you might think, oh, that's so long, well, I can just go on a 1-day course. But the 1-day courses are not enough. They're great. I used to say this when I ran the 1-day courses. They've got to be part of a process, like a journey yourself you're going on. Yes, they're a really healthy injection, and sometimes they can be. You might go on there and mistakenly think the course cured me. And people used to say to me, I went on that and that was it. It's made nothing else has worked. And I always say to them, everything worked, but it just didn't come together until that course. And sometimes you can do the course and it's too soon. And so you do a flight and it actually just re-traumatizes you, which is like something that Becky Joel talked about when she did one of the courses. I won't name them. She's in one of the podcasts. So sometimes doing it too soon with a flight and forcing yourself onto it, it's like massively exposing yourself to a fear can actually make it worse. So you've got to do it little bit by little bit, and that's our philosophy. You've got to keep chipping away at the fear. That's the secret sauce, if there is one. I don't know why it's a sauce, but there you go. Hello, Natalie. So I think that's everything. Don't know why we're in that weird noise. Do it again. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm hoping that if this is your first experience of one of the Lovefly crowd, it's not your last, and that you then leave this community. No, I don't like them. Too light-hearted. But we are light-hearted, but we're still professional. I just, having done this since 1997, I've just seen it time and time again. You're just normal people that just need a bit of help, and that's why we try to treat you the same, like you would be if we were chatting to you in a pub or a bar. We would say, this is basically, think about this and what about that, because there's respect from us, respect. So the 200th episode is coming up soon, by the way, and we've got a couple of very special guests on there, some people from this group, and a couple of some of the Lovefly team, and then another special person as well, and a couple of people have done a little bit longer, and they've so we're trying to get a few others on there, but that's going to be up. So we're on episode 193. So it's 194 this week, and it's had nearly 500,000 downloads in total. Did you know that? The podcast is listened to in about 40 countries. Yep, there's 2 people in Czechoslovakia. They listen. I don't think it's called Czechoslovakia anymore, but there is 2 people that somewhere around there. I think it may be in, and one in Slovenia. Yeah, one person. Don't know who it is. Haven't met them. But yes, there's 2 people in Russia who watch it. Listen to it. Yep. I don't know if it's the main man. Hi, Rosalie. So yes, so our podcast will be out 7 o'clock Wednesday. All the normal podcast places. Is also on YouTube as well, if you want to actually see what these humans look like. Hi, Debbie. So Debbie very kindly has just been on to give me some feedback around the iPhone app. So thank you very much for that. And any more like that, always very, very welcome. And Debbie is a hero. So her and Melissa and stuff have been doing all sorts of secret things, like arranging get-togethers. And then when Jamie and Chris, they did a trip over to Dublin, I think. Yeah. Oh, what? They've got this little group going, like a Lovefly inner circle, and they just invite everyone into it and they help people secretly. Yeah, we're on to you. We know you do. And there's lots of other people that I come across every now and then and just think, wow. So back to my original point, you are part of a fantastic global community, and it is people like the Debbies who's just joined now and should be cringing because she's very modest. Yeah, she says, stop it, you're making me blush. But it's people like you that just make this, and we've worked out that Peter Higgins doesn't actually sleep. We think he's on drugs, because he answers nearly every message. He does lots of all the time. And then there's somebody else I suspect isn't sleeping as well, which is John Bond, because he seems to be about at weird times. So we reckon that those two characters in this Lovefly group definitely they don't sleep. Maybe they're meta humans. Don't know, something going on there. But there's lots and lots of fantastic people in here. So thank you to all of you. Sometimes I want to name more of you, but then I might, if I miss someone out, I'd feel really bad. So thank you to all of you, and keep doing what you're doing. Remember, keep chipping away at it. You weren't born with it, and there's no reason why you can't get a shot of this fear, or at least get to a place where you can manage it and take those trips and not let the fear ruin your choices, which is what it does. It robs you of choices. That's what the fear does, and so we want to give you back the choice to actually choose not to fly, but not being able to fly because you can't bear it. I think is just really rotten. So we want to make sure that you have at least a good fighting chance to then make a good informed decision, you know. Thanks, Andy. That's very kind of you. And Joanne says, thanks, Paul. I'm watching from Mauritius, and I wouldn't be without Lovefly. Oh, that's a heart shape, although it was a bit weird when I do it. Thank you. Yeah. Amazing. So there you go. There's lots of amazing people in this group who inspire constantly like this. So thank you very much, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm going to say ta-ta now. So I'm in a Premier in Matlock today, in sort of North Derby. Very posh, very nice area, and it's a lovely tourist area. So if you ever come to the UK, this is definitely a place to check out. I'm doing some facilitation tomorrow. So ciao.